or far. Wherever the news is, we will be there. Signaturetv. News in your pocket.
Jimmy Lai, Hong Kong's pro-democracy media tycoon, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for colluding with foreign forces under the city's controversial national security law. Human rights groups have described the sentence as a death sentence for the 78-year-old, citing serious health concerns. Hong Kong's leader, however, called the ruling deeply gratifying. It is the harshest punishment handed down under the law imposed by China after mass pro-democracy protests in 2019 and defended by Beijing as vital for stability. Lai, a British citizen and fierce critic of China, is the most high-profile figure jailed under the law. His son, Sebastian Lai, criticized UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's recent visit to China, calling the sentence the end of justice in Hong Kong. Judges said Lai's actions were of the most serious category, while Hong Kong and Chinese officials insisted the case showed the rule of law in action. There was a heavy police presence at the court, alongside crowds of supporters. Already jailed for more than 5 years over earlier convictions, Lai has already denied the charges, saying he was defending Hong Kong's values of free speech and rule of law. 6 former Apple Daily executives and 2 activists were also sentenced, receiving jail terms of up to 10 years. Rights groups and legal figures have urged international pressure on China, while several governments and the UN have expressed concern. Beijing has dismissed the criticism as interference in internal affairs. Jimmy Lai became a prominent democracy activist after the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown, later founding pro-democracy media outlets and taking part in regular protests. A South Korean official who suggested the country import young women from Vietnam or Sri Lanka to boost its birth rate has been expelled from his party. Kim Hee-soo, the head of the southern Jindo County, said the women could be married off to young men in rural areas during a town hall meeting last week. The suggestion comes as South Korea continues to grapple with the lowest birth rate in the world, which could see the country's 50 million strong population. But Kim's statement, which was televised, did not go down well, triggering a diplomatic protest from Vietnam, days of public anger, and his expulsion from the ruling Democratic Party. Attempts by Kim to diffuse the outrage with an apology a day after the town hall meeting appear to have failed. The town hall had been called to discuss a potential merger between the province, where Jindo County is located, and a nearby city, something regions with shrinking populations are looking at for administrative reasons. Kim said his comment had been intended to highlight population issues in rural regions, but admitted the language he had used was inappropriate. South Jeolla Province also issued a formal apology for Kim's inappropriate remarks, which it said has caused deep pain to Vietnamese people and to women. The Vietnamese ambassador in Seoul had condemned Kim's remarks, saying in a statement on Facebook that his words were not simply a matter of expression, but a matter of values and attitudes toward migrant women and minority groups. The Democratic Party's Supreme Council had voted unanimously to expel Kim, a party spokesperson told reporters on Monday. Meanwhile, activists for women and migrant rights are reportedly planning to hold a rally in front of Jindo County office on Tuesday over Kim's comments. At least 4 people, including a woman and a child, have been killed in Russian drone attacks on Ukraine. The Ukrainian Air Force said in a statement on Monday that Russian forces fired 11 ballistic missiles and 149 drones across Ukraine overnight. Ukrainian officials said the attacks killed a woman and her 10-year-old son in a residential area of the eastern town of Borodukhiv, as well as a 71-year-old man in the northern Chernihiv region. Another person was killed and 2 others wounded in the southern port city of Odessa, according to Regional Governor Ole Kipe. Residential infrastructure and a gas pipeline were also damaged in an attack on a residential building in the area. At least 9 others, including a 13-year-old girl, were wounded by drones that struck the southeastern Dnipropetrovsk region. There was no immediate comment from Russia, which has denied targeting civilians deliberately since it launched a full-scale invasion of its neighboring country in February 2022. The missile and drone barrage cut power to tens of thousands of people amid freezing temperatures as Russia continued its winter campaign against Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Ukraine's national railway operator reported additional attacks on rail infrastructure in the Sumy and Chernihiv regions. Following the attacks, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha called for the European Union to impose a complete entry ban on Russians. Ukraine has claimed responsibility for some previous assassinations in Russia, but has denied being behind the attempt on Alexeyev's life. A rubber boat carrying dozens of people has capsized off the coast of Libya, leaving at least 53 people, including 2 babies, dead or missing. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, said the vessel carrying 55 people had overturned north of the coastal city of Zuwara in the northwestern Libya on February 6th. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, said the vessel carrying 55 people had overturned north of the coastal city of Zuwara in northwestern Libya on February 6th. The IOM said its teams provided to survivors with emergency medical care upon disembarking in coordination with the relevant authorities. According to the survivors, the agency said the boat was carrying refugees and migrants from African countries. It had departed from Zawiya in northwestern Libya at about 11 p.m. on February 5th and capsized approximately 6 hours later. According to the IOM's Missing Migrants Project, more than 1,300 people have gone missing on the dangerous central Mediterranean route in 2025. The latest incident brings the number of refugees and migrants reported dead or missing on the route this year to at least 484. Iranian authorities have arrested 4 people on charges of attempting to disrupt the country's political and social order and working for the benefit of Israel and the United States during the anti-government protests last month. The arrests were made late on Sunday and early on Monday and included prominent reformist politicians who have spoken critically about the theocratic establishment. Those arrested were identified as Azam Mansouri, head of Iran's Reformist Front, Mohsen Aminzadeh, a former diplomat, and Ibrahim Asghazadeh, a former parliamentarian. Hojer Kermani, the lawyer representing the 3 arrested people, told newsmen that Javed Imam, a spokesman of the Reformist Front, was also taken from his home by security forces. Iran's judiciary claimed that the group was behind organizing and leading extensive activities aimed at disrupting the political and social situation at a time when the country faced military threats from Israel and the U.S. Iran's Reformist Front confirmed the arrest in a statement on X. It said Mansouri was arrested from the door of her home under a judicial order by the intelligence forces of Iran. It added that the IRGC has also issued summons to other senior members, including its deputy chairman, Mohsen Amin, and Secretary Badrasadat Mofidi. Another reformist figure, Faizola Arab Shouki, was also summoned. The arrests come amid anger in Iran over the deaths of thousands of Iranians during the January unrest. The protests began in the capital, Tehran, over a worsening economic crisis, but quickly escalated into a nationwide anti-government movement. And that's it on international news.
Next, let's turn our attention to entertainment news with Queenette Wokunta.
Famous Nigerian actress Faithia Williams Balogun has announced the death of her mother. The actress made the disclosure just hours after celebrating her 55th birthday. According to her, her mother passed away on the eve of the birthday party held on Sunday, but the heartbreaking news was deliberately kept away from her until after the celebration. Sharing the news on Monday morning, Fathia appealed to her fans and general public to remember her and her siblings in prayers during this difficult time. Fathia's birthday party took place in Lagos on Sunday and was attended by several notable celebrities, including Funke Akindele, Fuji singer Pasuma, Kazeem Adeoti, Wunmi Ajiboye, MC Oluomo, and others. Popular Nigerian TikToker Pella has begged his ex-girlfriend, Jarvis, to reconsider their relationship. Pella made the plea while expressing regret over their failed relationship. The lovebirds announced their breakup in a separate video in December 2025. However, sitting together inside the car, Pella appealed to Jarvis to take him back, assuring her that they would never break up again. He promised that their relationship would no longer be conducted online and said he was now more mature. Pella added that they would keep their relationship private, travel together to Dubai, and remain committed to each other for life. Veteran Nollywood actress Omotola Jalade Ikinde has disclosed that her children were subjected to death threats during the EndSARS protests, an ordeal she said significantly changed her approach to activism. In a recent interview, the actress explained that while she had become used to receiving personal threats over the years, the situation became deeply troubling when the intimidation was directed at her children. She revealed that the tension escalated when some individuals began actively searching for her at both her home and workplace, raising serious concerns about her family's safety. Omotola noted that the experience forced her to reassess her involvement in street protests. She said she ultimately influenced her decision to shift towards more strategic and focused forms of advocacy, especially as her children grow older and more independent. Media entrepreneur and the chief executive officer of Ebony Life Group, Mo Abudu, has dismissed the allegations that a cabal exists in Nollywood working with cinema owners to deny certain films access to screening slots. In recent weeks, some filmmakers and cinema goers have taken to social media to allege that films are sometimes removed from scheduled screenings, replaced with other titles, or that cinema staff persuade audiences to switch movies after tickets have been sold. Speaking in a recent interview, Abudu said cinema operations are driven strictly by business considerations and audience demand, not sentiment, favoritism, or personal relationships. While veteran actress Omotola Jalade Ikinde acknowledged during the discussion that such complaints have become widespread within the industry, Abudu firmly denied that the alleged practices occur at Ebony Life Cinemas, which she owns. She argued that it would make no commercial sense for cinemas to deliberately restrict screenings or discourage audiences from watching particular films. Addressing complaints about peak hour slots, she said audience demand does not always align with expectations. Abudu further explained that screening schedules are adjusted based on performance, noting that cinemas must balance creative considerations with operational costs, such as electricity, air conditioning, and staff salaries. And that's the entertainment news. Gwyneth Wokunta, Signature TV News.
That's the news this hour. I am Barry Kumo Ado. Thank you very much for watching.
Signature TV, news in your pocket. Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Signaturetv, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signaturetv.
One host, one stage, one historic moment the world will never forget. This Valentine's Day, love meets legacy. Signaturetv proudly presents ENUGU to the world with a Guinness World Record attempt featuring Dr. Chigi Chiagaram. The highest number of interviews in 12 hours. 100 guests, one studio, one record. For 12 non-stop hours, we bring together 100 influential voices. Date 14th February 2026, Valentine's Day. Time 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Venue International Conference Center, ENUGU. Live on Signaturetv and all Signaturetv digital platforms. Be part of history.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.
New every morning on Signaturetv, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding graduate when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signaturetv. Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day, we at Signaturetv trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
WAEC is overrated, and they even overrated themselves, and when you go see it, they are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what they call CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change the narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signaturetv every morning on Signature Morning weekdays and Signature New Day weekends. Newspaper review on Signaturetv. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
One host, one stage, one historic moment the world will never forget. This Valentine's Day, love meets legacy. Signaturetv proudly presents ENUGU to the world with a Guinness World Record attempt featuring Dr. Chigi Chiagoram. The highest number of interviews in 12 hours. 100 guests, one studio, one record. For 12 non-stop hours, we bring together 100 influential voices. Date 14th February 2026, Valentine's Day. Time 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Venue International Conference Center, ENUGU. Live on Signaturetv and all Signaturetv digital platforms. Be part of history.
Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
We come from a place of values, a place where hard work and discipline is taught early. We were taught that excellence is intentional so that we stand firm, build and do our work well. Rooted in the knowledge of our origins and the strength of our people, our stories are shaped by resilience, our paths are built on consistency. From the hands that create with precision, skills live here, creativity thrives here, excellence is practiced here, where every detail matters. We tell our stories with clarity and share our truths with confidence. We build influence with intention. Our voices reflect who we are and carry our identity. We build a strong foundation in the dignity of honest work, pride in showing up every day, strength in consistency, respect for the process, and strong value in our efforts. This is who we are. Rooted in service to humanity, guided by compassion, driven by responsibility beyond self, committed to life, and purposeful in every action we take. It is not just a conversation, it is representation, it is preparation, it is intention made visible, and it is history taking shape. From the dream team, we can do it.
February 14th, 2026.
International Conference Center, ICC.
This is bigger than one person. This is about all of us. You are invited.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions.
Good morning, Nigeria. You're welcome to another day on Signature Morning. Today is Tuesday, the 10th day of February 2026. Quinsley, good morning.
Good morning, Uche. Good morning, our beautiful viewers, and thank you for joining us this morning once again. Of course, the electoral bill is still trending.
Very controversial at this point, because I think after the 2023 elections, right, everybody's still traumatized
about it.
By what happened and how everything played out.
I was really hoping that we'll just upgrade the systems, whatever you have to do to aid smooth transmission. I'm surprised that they're encouraging the no real-time transmission.
Yes, and the funny thing is, I think why people are even more concerned about this is because they're leaving it to the discretion of INEC.
Yeah.
So like INEC can decide.
So even the people can't have access to it.
And it's very interesting because now everybody is coming up. I mean, even NLC is threatening that they will probably go on strike or if these people continue with this. So I don't know how it's going to look like, but I think they are doing an emergency meeting for this. So let's just hope that it has a positive outcome.
I really
everything
do hope so.
Will calm down, because this issue of this electoral bill has lasted for
and
a
it's
very
likely
long
to
time.
affect voter apathy as well.
Of course. I mean, we're already suffering from a lot of electoral issues. So let's just hope it doesn't worsen the situation. Well, thank you for being a part of the show this morning. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha.
I am Quinsley Rowland. And right away, we'll go on a short break and return to look into the papers this morning. Good morning and welcome back. Looking at the Daily Trust newspaper, boldly written, we have electoral bill, Senate reconvenes amid mounting pressure.
All right, that's the only paper we have on the Daily Trust. So let's look at the next one, which is the Punch newspaper. Senate reconvenes today as Electoral Act triggers uproar. Obi joins NAS protesters. Kuka demands review. Anger mounts over controversial amendment. Akpabio leads tense emergency session.
Beside the mass, we have banditry crisis. Federal government rejects Northern governor's call to suspend mining.
Oyo princes launch court fight to preserve Alaafin supremacy.
President vows to replace open grazing with ranching reforms.
Now, if you look below, we see that over 75 million Nigerians face retirement without pensions, and this is from PENCOM.
Beside that, we have again U.S. to deport 18 Nigerians on criminal lists.
And finally, on the Punch, CBN NCC propose instant refunds for failed airtime data.
Looking at the Nation's newspaper, boldly written, we have protesting obedient supporters demand real-time result transmissions.
Now, we see Tinubu, we will defeat this unacceptable terrorism, banditry. States councils to play big role in renewed Hope National Development Plan 2026 to 2030.
Above the mass, we have Cardoso, foreign reserves now $49 billion. The appeal court affirms Senate power to suspend Natasha.
Okay, Fubara may submit commissioners list following Aso Villa talks.
All right, we have U.S. intervention in Nigerian insecurity, a blessing, says First Lady.
And NAFDAC seizes fake malaria drugs worth 3 billion naira.
New pay for varsity teachers takes off in line with new deal.
Okay, let's look at the Vanguard newspaper, and we see on the headlines, the Senate says Nigeria will continue borrowing to fund 25.91 trillion naira budget deficit as NAS vows not to approve further budget rollovers, subsidies.
All right, above the mass, we have 9 worshippers abducted during night vigil in Benue Catholic Church with a rider. Midnight abduction sparks protests in Kaduna's Millennium City.
Banditry, terrorism are economic hindrances we must overcome. This is from Tinubu.
All right, we have Rivers crisis. Fubara and Wike meet Tinubu in Abuja.
Sanwo-Olu flags of health safety initiative for 10,000 Lagos drivers.
Suspension. Court dismisses Natasha's case, says Senate acted within its powers.
Children chant "Our communities, our home" as Lagos lawmakers visit Makoko.
All right, then we have the Electoral Act. Senate open to criticism will resolve issue today from the Senate spokesman with the rider. Protest rocks NAS over e-transmission of results. Obi joint protest says Nigerians don't want glitch again. NGE, Abakoba, Ame, MCE fix politics. Others speaks. CSOS demand real-time results. Downloadable voters cards.
Now let's look at what we have on the Guardian newspaper. Page 6, the major headline: fresh killings, abductions, heightening security fears amid drone attacks.
Above the headline, we have fresh borrowings loom as 2026 budget faces 25.27 trillion naira deficit. And beside that, we have Tinubu wades into Fubara-Wike rift again.
All right, now Shetima says that GDP figures no longer enough to measure progress.
Senate to harmonize Electoral Act today and amid protest over real-time transmission.
Residents protest as terrorists abduct 7 in Kaduna.
Nigeria's internet speed slips, ranks 58 globally.
Cross River magistrates begin indefinite strike over poor welfare.
Natasha loses suspension appeal as court quashes 5 million naira contempt fine.
NAS NEC seek judiciary's aid for grid power sector stability.
Looking at the Nigerian Tribune, boldly written is Electoral Act, Obi, CSOS, others protest at NAS.
Now, IMF multilaterals GDP projections achievable but disconnected from everyday living, and this is from experts.
Federal government begins implementation of 40% pay arrangement with ASU and others compliance.
Now, on health, dermatologists warn of rising complications from skin bleaching, cites cancer, organ damage risks.
All right, we have Tinubu holds fresh peace talk with Fubara and Wike with the rider. Lawmakers may back down on impeachment process.
We still see that the appeal court upholds Natasha's suspension, says Senate acted within its powers. Now we've covered what we have on the headlines on the national dailies this morning, and now it's time for our review with Chris Maduka. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Quinsley. And good morning, our dear people who are always sitting to listen and watch what is going on in our dailies in Nigeria, this part of the world. And of course, you have looked at and seen them. You can make the judgment by yourself and say Nigerian wahala, no they finish. So we see our wahalas in the headlines, and I'm here again to look at Nigeria. Probably Signaturetv will look at the wahala headlines. Just on these headlines, but that's by the way. Okay. Welcome and God bless you.
All right, looking at the papers, we are saying that the Senate to reconvene today as the Electoral Act triggers lots of uproar.
Yes. And this Nigerian Senate has made me to exhaust all my proverb of bone and silence